Do you hear fighters talk about sponsors? Who are the sponsors? Where do they get the money? Why do they give fighters money? This chat is with PRP Global. Now, you might have seen PRP Global pop up on your Instagram. They are currently sponsoring the likes of Colby Thickness, trains out of Freestyle MMA with the great Alex Volkanovski, along with Justin Van Heerden, the former Eternal MMA featherweight champion, maybe future Hex featherweight champion, Amina Hedaya, Seb Saleh, who's in the Eternal MMA Grand Prix, and they also sponsor Harry Webb, the Hex lightweight champion, at least still for now, who has recently signed a multi-fight deal with Eternal MMA. PRP Global, a clothing brand, sort of support system, sort of, if you're not too sure, stick around, because you're going to find out about a man that just wants to help some fighters and a brand that just wants to get behind Australian MMA. So how can I not have them on the show? This is not a paid sponsorship. You cannot buy your way onto an interview with me. You just can't. Can you buy the stuff? Absolutely. I'll sell my soul. But an interview? No. This is a safe space. I will talk to anyone I think you guys find interesting. So, do I have to establish this is not an ad? I do grill, if you will, PRP Global and kind of what their goal is and what their mission is and, you know, the money, like all of it. So if you want to find out about a sponsor and their mission and their goal and where they get their money and why they give their money, and what's in it for them, because I think that's what we always ask when sponsors come on board with fighters. But you're about to find out. Ryan Bird is very good chat. He's open about their mission and what they want to do. So there will be time codes below that if you want to skip to your favourite bit or just the bit that interests you, do that. But yeah, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, a sponsor of Australian MMA, not the show, the landscape, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Bird from PRP Global. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the show, co-owner of PRP Global, Ryan Bird. Mate, welcome.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. It's good.
Well, first of all, I mean, I've been seeing PRP pop up on Instagram. A lot of fighters seem to be involved now. I'll be honest, I don't even know. Is it a clothing brand? Is it a management? Like, what is PRP Global? I'm seeing it everywhere.
I don't think we know. Look, the forefront of what we're doing is trying to give Aussie MMA a boost. Take the guys that we sign to our company and give them not only a financial injection, but anything that they can give them the upper hand to be a better fighter than they are. Our goal is to see these guys succeed, whether or not that's UFC or other top promotions internationally, or if they end up being a champion in Australia, if that's their dreams. We're trying to give them a platform that they can catapult themselves and the resources necessary to achieve that.
That sounds really sketchy. What actually like? What is the goal? Like, I guess how did it start? Like, what is the whole? Is it just we give fighters money and then they say we represent them? Like, what is it?
Look, so we started. I've another company, Rapid Building Approval. So this was the Volk Islam fight in Perth. It started with Colby Thickness and Freestyle there. Followed the sport a number of years as a fan. Met Colby at the Volk after party. There was an intimate sort of setting there. Might have been 50 people outside of the freestyle guys that probably got invited to. Had a chat to him. Super down to earth kid for what he's exposed to, being alongside Volk. But not only that, just going over to the UFC setting, being the Ultimate Fighter, having the stature that he has at a young age and the head on his shoulders. He was a very down-to-earth person, and I reached out to him after he fought Michael Barber. I think it was March last year at Hex, and said, look, mate, if you want to sponsor, get in touch. So that was through my company, Rapid Building Approvals. from there, funny enough, we signed another 2 guys, we sponsored another 2 guys from freestyle. Some were saying maybe we'll get a little bit top heavy on the freestyle crew, but that's where the best fighters are coming out of there. You've got to give it to them there. They've got an elite bunch of talent at that gym. All credit to Joe and that entire setting. So my business partner Patrick, who's my really good mate and my accountant, we discussed. So let me take it back. We had Amina, Colby, and Seb, and these were the OG3, we could call it. And we came to him and said, look, we want a new company that's cool, that could be sort of fit into the MMA world. And we took their advice on board. We had them involved with the naming of the company, the branding, and really created PRP Global. The end game is, look, if you've been on the website, we are going to do streetwear. I mean, in some cases, we're going to have to generate some revenue to be able to fund these guys. So Patrick and I are funding this a little bit with our own money at the moment. But at the end of that, there's the goal is to have fighters that we sign and we can, like I said before, give them the boost to make it to the next level in their MMA careers. And a little bit slow on the shirt selling at the moment. We've discovered that there is a process to do it correctly. Very easy to go out and to chuck a logo on a blank T-shirt, and that's okay. But the brand and the company we're trying to become is probably another 6 to 12 months away to do things properly. But in the interim, we're getting an awesome kick out of watching the guys. We've obviously got Harry Webb now and Justin on the team as well. And all 5 of them are super excited to be on board. We're excited to have them on board, and we're looking forward to see what we can do with those guys over the next 12 months and beyond.
So what does PRP stand for?
Mate, ChatGPT chose that name. So we typed in, we typed in, we said, look, this is the company we want to, the idea was we want to do the Australian MMA scene, and we want to sort of identify talent and sponsor them and bring them up. And it was there was a professional recruitment partners abbreviation. But Patrick and myself, our initials are P&R. So it doesn't stand for professional recruitment partners, but the PRP was, well, could be that. It could be me and Patrick's name. It's one of those things. We liked it, mate. So we'll figure out the acronym soon, but it's at the moment, mate, it's just one of those. Patrick Ryan. The P, we'll figure out the end bit.
I like that there's everyone's like, oh, before you start, you're going to have a why. And you're like, nah, we're going to start and we'll figure it all out later. And
figure it out later, mate. Yeah.
I like it. So I guess it just stems from you see these younger fighters that are kind of at the top of the regional scene, and you kind of just want to help them get to either that next level or at least make it sort of profitable for them to be at the top level of Australia. But where did the initial, when did you go, I really want to get involved in this sport?
I think for a lot of people say this, that Volkanovski Islam fight probably took the Aussie MMA scene that next level, having the event in Perth, followed up by the Izzy fight in Sydney. I think I've spoken to a lot of people in this industry that it's really a buzz at the moment, especially these last couple of years coming off that. To want to help, I've used this a little bit. It's probably not the best saying. Some people invest in racehorses and they'll go and watch the Melbourne Cup and they'll win some prize money and that sort of stuff, and they chip with their mates and they watch the horse grow and train. We're sort of doing this with fighters. We're not expecting any dollars back. We're not expecting for one of our guys to hold the belt and we cash in and make money. We've had a lot of positive comments because there's not a lot of companies doing this that are throwing big dollars at guys that aren't even at the UFC yet. But it's to be honest, mate. The first fight we watched with a fighter was Sebastian. It's September, the Eternal card before Izzy's fight, and just being there, obviously as a fan, is a thrill in itself. But being there as that next level relationship we built with Seb, we had the nerves, the heart was racing. It was exciting. It was awesome to be involved as a fan, but also as a sponsor of Seb's at that event, and it made the fight that much more intense, that much more enjoyable. Made the win even sweeter. And we got a kick out of that. We done the Hex card recently where Colby fought and against Michael Manu, which was a great fight. And same again, it's just had the nerves, mate. There in person, it obviously got the result. Couldn't make a meanest fight last weekend, but watching at home, I had all my mates and family over, and just that, so proud of her as well for that. For what both her and Jacinta done for women's MMA was awesome. I thought that was a really good fight, and yeah, we look forward to Justin getting in there in a couple of weeks' time and doing his thing, and then Harry, obviously in Perth in August. That's going to be another cracker. So we've got some really exciting times ahead.
And how big will your stable get? Like, are you satisfied with the number of guys you've got right now, or are you still looking? Or
look, I think it's going to be a quality over quantity. We are going to look at some tiered approaches where, okay, we can't be throwing big dollars at 100 fighters, but some sort of grassroots that we can go into some gyms, potentially younger children, where we could help out with some training equipment, gym wear, etc. There's a whole heap of ideas. We've had to sort of hit the brakes a little bit because we've sort of gone 0 to 100 really quick. That's my fault. Patrick, my partner, is a very calm, cool, collected operator, and I'm the bull out of the gate sort of guy. So I'm running 100 miles out this, so we're trying to find a happy medium. But I think if the right opportunity comes up, the right fighter, the right potential, for sure we can have a chat. It's easy to go out and get established stars that have made the UFC and approach them. That's fine. But we really want to be on the ride together, and yeah, that's where it started with Colby. Obviously a well-known name in Australian MMA, but if we can ride that journey with him to the UFC and all the other guys for that matter, I think that's going to be more rewarding for us as a company and individuals as well.
where does this, I mean, like, sure, you sell a couple of t-shirts down the line, but like, where does this become like financially like viable for you? Like, is it just a passion project? Did one of you guys just win the lotto? Like, sure, like, businesses don't give money to not get anything back. What is the plan?
So we do have big plans for this clothing label. So it is an MMA inspired streetwear label. And we've had input directly from Colby, Amin, and Seb when we started in terms of what that's going to look like. We are going to look at doing some fighter wear and some gloves. I don't believe it's going to be to sell to the public. The thinking behind that is we need to maximize our exposure of our athletes' social media profiles. Now, being MMA fighters, they're not going to be posting out at nightclubs wearing our t-shirts. Most of their post videos on their social media platform will be in the gym training. So we are looking at getting some gear for those guys, which will have our branding. Obviously, the more exposure we can get as a company, the better. So that made sense for us to be able to do that. And we do have some gear on the way that these guys are going to be able to wear. Outside of the fighters, we are investing quite heavily in some marketing. So we're quite confident that this label is going to pick up and take off in the next 12 months. So I believe, we'll reap the rewards hopefully in the next 6 to 12 months of that. We're already getting some strong sales of our fighter shirts. We don't make a lot of money off those. So effectively we cover our costs and we give more or less all profit back to the guys. Which is something really cool. As you know, you might be aware of these, all fighters, I guess, not even in Australia at this level, can find it quite difficult to come across, the dollars needed to live sometimes or to get by. So the more we can invest in these guys and give them the opportunity to be the great superstars that we know they can be, the better for us. But to go back to the question, the streetwear side of things, we've got some really cool things in the pipeline coming up. And as most businesses, we're very fortunate. We've had 2 successful businesses outside of PRP that we can invest into this, and we've got quite a good plan in place. So hopefully, in 12 months' time, we can catch up again, and I can give you a bit of a rundown on the success, and you obviously follow our journey on Instagram too, and as more comes, I'm sure you'll see that.
So what's the grand plan? I mean, where is this company in 5 years?
So I thought it was a bit full on. My account wants to get it to a size potentially where we may sell out to a bigger shark. We may enjoy the ride, but I don't know. It's an exciting thing. This is it's something new. It's refreshing for us. I do building approvals. Patrick's an accountant. We have no idea. We've got some very good network of people around us that have experience with the clothing industry. It's a good question. We know we want to make it successful, and we've got a pathway written down which we want to follow, and we've got certain goals to get there along the way. Hopefully it's something that it's an iconic brand within Australia. If we can take it international with that, it can resonate with not only MMA, but combat sports in its entirety. And I think that, if we can do that, there's plenty of other companies at the moment that are doing that as well. And I think more is better, more variety is better. And hopefully in 5 years' time, we're a well-known brand internationally, and a lot of combat sports fans and athletes are wearing our gear.
Do you see yourself more as you see PRP Global as more of like a, I don't know, or your knowledge of all the brands, but like a street X, or more like an Engage Industries?
Mate, I mean, Street X, with what they do and Engage, I mean, similar. You could say similar and different. I mean, both of those brands have qualities that make them stand out to what we are and to each other. I think what might separate us is what we're doing at the Australian MMA level. Not to say those guys aren't. I'm not too familiar with what they're doing with fighters, etc. But I definitely wouldn't say competition. I mean, we're selling clothes, right? So I mean, there's thousands and thousands of brands that are selling t-shirts as well. But we're just really trying to focus on what we do and look after our fighters and just sort of try and make our way into the world with our ideas and follow what we believe in. And at the moment, I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. And yeah, it's probably what I can say on that topic.
Who got you into the Australian MMA scene? Like, are you connected? Because here's my look from the outside. Just when I saw it pop up, I was like, okay, well, are they more like, do they know Hex guys? And I was like, well, they obviously know someone at like the Wollongong area, but like, who is your kind? I don't want to say you're in, but like, who kind of introduced you into the Australian MMA world?
Mate, the conversations with Colby, it really stemmed from him. We've obviously followed the Aussie MMA. We've seen Aussies make the UFC, so I've always kept an eye on that scene, but I've never been invested enough with a connection with a fighter to want to follow their journey. And that chat with Colby in Feb last year kickstarted that. From there, meeting Sebastian, Amina, Harry, Justin, was it all comes naturally. We sponsored the Hex show coming into Colby's fight last year. I've done an Eternal show too, so it's not to say that would be exclusive to one or the other. I think both promotions are doing some awesome things, especially at the moment. The last few months have been a lot of eyes on both promotions, which I think is great at the end of the day. The more people talking about Aussie MMA, the better. But yeah, it's really been these last 18 months where I've been fully invested in following the storylines and the matchups and what's going on within the MMA world.
And how did you find yourself at the after party for Volkanovski?
So okay, yeah, that was so we got tickets through a Sportnet holiday. We're mad fans and we're like, okay, we want to go. We don't want to run the risk of selling out because that was a massive event. I believe it sold out super quick. So Sportsnet had the packages. I think we spent like $4 or $5 grand a ticket. It was nuts. But the Ian through there introduced us to this guy who was organising the after party, and there was some booths and tickets and stuff going. And we had this group of 6 or 7 of us, and we messaged this promoter and couldn't get that. He said, "Hey, look, I've got 50 of these meet and greet with Volk tickets that I'm selling. So yeah, give me 6, give me 7, we'll do that. And that was cool. I mean, obviously, would have loved to have partied with the belt for sure. But that whole afternoon, evening with those guys and the fans after, once they got to the public, it was still it was a celebration of UFC and Australian MMA. I think, even though the result didn't quite go Volk's way, he did Australia proud. So did all the other Aussies on that card. And I could really feel something there that night that is proven true now with how big Australian MMA has grown, especially since February. And yeah, that's how we got in. It was a good night, but like I said, it would have been even better if he'd won, but it probably worked out for the best that he didn't, because it was pretty crazy as it was.
And what do you think people kind of don't know, if they're just casual fans or fighters, about like your role in Australian MMA and your eventual role in Australian MMA? Because a lot of people see the fighter and then he walks through or he's into the after party and there's like 30 people behind him, right? And they don't know how important those 30 people are. You're eventually going to be one of those people behind,
Sure.
if not
Yeah.
already. What is the sort of back end stuff that you guys have to deal with? Like, you're not just a hanger on, you're not just hanging out for the party and the
For
champagne.
sure.
Like, what is it
No,
that you do?
mentorship for these guys too. I mean, what do we do? I guess if these guys, you think they can jump on the phone. So Patrick and I, in terms of business owners, have a bit of experience, and I think there's some degree of having to have knowledge to operate as a business, as a fighter, especially as you get more successful, to give advice. Not to say our advice is always right or wrong, but it's another set of ears that we can listen to and provide information, our thoughts on. It's not just a money thing. We've looked after nutrition. Sebastian had surgery on his elbow. Would have been probably towards the end of last year, just after his Sydney fight. We covered that. We've had Amina with her sports psychology, has really taken her to another level after her fight overseas, and she came back and she's been doing that to really overcome some potential mental battles, maybe, or psychology to be a better fighter. At the end of the day, we are a sponsor, but it's important to us that we're more than that to these guys. So to build a genuine connection with all 5 of them at the moment is the aim. Harry, obviously down in Melbourne, met him briefly at the last Hex card. We'll build that relationship as well. It's the 2 of us, so we're trying our best to get to all the fights in between us. That's our goal this year. But we just want to be a safe, secure person for these guys to come to outside of their gym, that they can ask for help. And we really want them to be able to come to us with anything. And I feel like so far we've done that and been able to do that, which we're very fortunate to be in a position to do so.
Do fighters like officially sign with you like a contract? Do you work with their management or deal with their management at all?
Initially, it was all just a handshake arrangement. We'd get their sort of invoices, pay the invoices as a normal sponsor would. As we're evolving into having some streetwear, some gloves, etc., we've had some contracts to protect them, but also to protect us, to keep us accountable. If we promise that we're going to pay X, Y, Z, when you sign a fight, when you win a fight, it's to ensure we can't just get up and go. They have something legally holding us accountable to make sure that they're getting that, and vice versa. And I think the contract also gives them and us a peace of mind that, hey, we're in this for the long run. I had a chat to Amina before we got on this chat and let the dust settle from a fight on the weekend, just reassured her that we're going to go again and we will get that belt. She will, and she is gonna get outside Australia and on the international scene. She's got all the tools in the world for that. So yeah, the contracts are there. We did have a bit of a back and forth with Daniel Mortzi overseas with Harry, and I had a chat with him yesterday. Awesome guy, and
he is.
just took his experience and advice on board, and he had a look over the contracts and he gave his input, and he was super awesome and great to chat to. Obviously, he's got some superstars under his belt. Looks like potentially Harry could be one of those guys in the future. Hopefully we see more. So that's really cool that we get those sort of guys coming on board to help us, because I think they're starting to see that what we're trying to do is a good thing for Australian MMA, and we're getting a lot of help on the way, which is good.
Have there been any critiques or harsher feedback from people, fighters, managers, anything like that?
Not at all, not that I'm aware of. We were calling ourselves PRP MMA when we were doing the fighter shirts, and politely we had Joe just asked to take the MMA off the PRP. And I think potentially, if you have a look at freestyle MMA and PRP MMA, potentially PRP MMA could have been seen as a gym. Therefore, it's like, hang on, Colby doesn't fight for PRP MMA; he's freestyle MMA. That's not even a critique. That was awesome to hear, awesome to take on board. So nothing that I've heard. I can't see why we would. We're only trying to do the best for the guys we have. There might be potentially our fighters' opponents in camps that may have animosity, but I can't see why. We're not here to upset anyone. We're here to be genuine and to help. So nothing, and I hope it stays that way. We do want to build a good relationship with the Aussie MMA scene.
Is there any other companies out there that you think are doing anything similar to you?
Mate, look, naturally, we touched on before. You see UFC caliber fighters, even some Aussie MMA guys, getting certain brands sent to them as gifts, except not gifts, but as and here you go, here's some fight gear. I'm a big believer that that's awesome. There's a couple of brands that we're aware of that are doing that. I think the more you can give to fighters to better their chances of making it professional, it can only help. I don't know specific details with money being handed over. Other companies are paying for surgeries, for psychology, for travel, etc. To the extent we are. Hopefully there is. I'd like to think that there's other companies invested as we are that are doing that. But from the feedback, and we've had a lot of very positive and kind messages from a lot of people, that it's not going unnoticed, that there's a lot of positive talk and a lot of gratitude towards what we're doing, and that's really reassuring for Patrick and myself to hear that, because there was a time when we first started, we weren't really getting, and we're not doing this for any kickbacks, by the way. Obviously, any compliments are welcome, but it's good now as we get a bit more momentum. We're getting messages, people saying, "Thank you, what you guys are doing is awesome," and that's really good for us to hear.
And I wouldn't be me if I didn't ask this question. Where's the money coming from?
Won the lotto, mate. No. So we've got I've got a really successful business in Queensland. So I do building approvals, and very fortunate to 10 or 11 offices between Cairns and Brisbane. So if you're familiar with Queensland, it's a fair stretch. That's enabled me to be smart with money, investments, houses, etc. And from that, to be able to have some money to do this. So Patrick, hot business as an accounting firm. He's also quite successful, based out of Surrey Hills in Sydney. So yeah, we are doing this with our own cents and dollars. We have a very, very calculated budget, and this is why I love doing business with Paddy, because he will hold the reins a little bit and stop me from running off and spending it all. So it's very calculated what we're doing, and yeah, we're making sure that we're not going to end up broke. We definitely don't want that, but we also still want to make sure that we're going to continue to deliver on what we've promised our guys.
Yeah, I just think it's a question that's got to be asked, because you got to spend money to make money, but you've also got to spend money to go broke. So I guess people want to know, like, where is the sort of breaking point? Like, at what point do you know? Like, are you like, okay, if at 2 years, like, we've got this much money to build the brand, at 2 years, if we're not at a certain point, we got to stop this. Like, do you have that written down type thing?
I think so, but we're in the positive without going into details. We've sold out on a couple of our shirts, and we've made our money back on most of our fighter shirts as well. So For example, if we order 100 shirts and they're $20 a pop to make, that's a $2,000 outlay. We'll basically recoup that from our guys. And then let's say if Colby sells 100 shirts, well, there's $4,000 profit. He can keep that. So with the fighter shirts, it's a break even. And as we grow our clothing brand, you understand with the MOQs and the minimum order quantities, as you get bigger supplies, bigger orders, the cost per units decrease, and then there's the number of shirts we have to sell to make that money back is less. So we're in the green. We're not rolling in it in terms of how PRP is, but this is a hobby thing for us, and the money side of PRP will grow. Obviously, everyone enters the business to make money, but at the moment, things are fine. Thankfully, we've had some support with the shirts so far.
Well, I mean, you're doing great things with money, and I know you didn't want me to say this, but I know that you personally have dropped $2,500 to help out Infinite MMA. It's public. It's on the GoFundMe. You can't get mad at me for saying it. And that topped all the donations. So, I mean, the fact that you're doing stuff like that is pretty incredible. So yeah, there's no question on that. I just wanted people to know that.
Thanks, mate. No, that's look, it's yeah, I mean, Harry's one of our boys now, so we want to help him. And as soon as he's back in there throwing kicks and punches and working out, the better it is for us, the better it is for him. So unfortunate what's happened, and I'm sure those guys from what I've seen, I actually messaged Johanna directly and said, look, we're here to help as well. It's great though, the amount of donations, the whole Aussie MMA community get behind those guys. So I've got no doubts that those boys will be back and fire in the belly to show up and take something back.
Yeah, look, it really is good. I'm glad that we're having this conversation because it's going to be awesome to have it in 10 years to see where you guys are. Before I do let you go, is there anything else that you want people to know that they might not know about PRP Global or I don't know, maybe to get in touch with you, or just anything that you kind of want the public to know?
Look, we're always open. On our website, we do have a contact us page if you're a fighter that you're looking for some sort of sponsorship. Like I said before, it is a quality over quantity. We have to sit down and make a criteria that, we can take you on, or no, we can't. And like I touched on before, the money thing, we can't go overboard just yet with that. As we grow as a company, and it allows us financially to do so, we will take on more guys. But I think what's important to me, the relationship with the fighters. Daniel touched on this with his management yesterday too. He said quality over quantity. I want people to be able to call me, my mobile. I have their personal details if they need something late at night or something like that. So I think when you get to a stage where you've got 30, 40, 50 people, that genuine connection between PRP and our fighters, you're going to lose that. And that's not what we are as a company. But look, if you're an up and comer, if you back yourself, if you think you've got heaps of potential, by all means, get in touch. And if it's not something that happens tomorrow, 6 months down the track, for sure. That's all I could really say, mate. Otherwise, if you probably give PRP a bit of a plug here, but if you want some cool streetwear, keep an eye on the Instagram in the next 6 months. We've got some pretty cool things coming out. And look, the supporter shirts, I will say that if you buy one of those three guy shirts, we are in the process of initially we were going to do something for Harry when he was going to do the hex card, and we thought, look, the turnaround for that's a little bit tight. We've got a couple of months up our sleeve now with the Eternal card, so we're going to get Harry some supporter shirts. Justin's the same, obviously. He's about to fight in 2 weeks, so it's a tight turnaround to get those sorted. But when we do post our fighter shirts, it's important for people to know that all profits go directly to those fighters. We do a weekly royalty payment based on the number of shirts, and we work out what the cost is to recoup for that shirt being made, and then we send dollars each week on a weekly basis to those guys, which helps them out immensely.
Cool. I mean, mate, it's awesome. I'm as informed as I still am confused, but it's awesome to see that you're involved, and that's the main bit. And it's got a feeling that it's going to be something big. I appreciate you jumping on. You're welcome to come on anytime. And yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having us, mate. I appreciate it. And big fan of the channel. So keep in touch. And it's going to be a lot to talk about over the next couple of weeks of all these fights and bits and pieces going on. So good time to be part of an Aussie MMA fan.
Love it. Thanks, mate. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, mate. Catch you. See ya.